It's great! It's great! Welcome back. Andertons TV. It's me, Oz. Shocker, you're seeing me again. Tough Subscribe. Before we get into this, please subscribe. You can win a clon, for God's sake. I mean, I might not be very good for this kind of stuff, but you never know, you might be able to flog it and buy something better. Today, we're trying out some Frost Giant effects. Now, I have to admit, I knew nothing about this company whatsoever. I'm obviously a massive fan of all things doomy and sludgy and stonery, and I like this kind of stuff, you know. But in a recent Tales from the Pedal Cabinet, which we did a couple of weeks ago, you can watch it up there, we tried out a Frost Giant Mountain, which is this bad boy. Okay, oh, cheers, focus. It was a really, really cool pedal. Just looking at the artwork, I saw the fuzz worship thing. I was like, well, I was sat behind the camera filming that. I was having a little Google. And yeah, what do you know? It's a Sleep reference. Sleep, obviously, extremely, extremely influential doom stonery kind of band. Pretty much pioneering that kind of sound that you've heard at the start of the video. It's all Sabbath worship, essentially, you know. I mean, Sabbath, one of the greatest bands of all time. No one can deny that. But what it seems like is that all of their pedals, all of the Frost Giant pedals, fuzz worship, whatever you want to call them, they seem to be all references to Sleep in some form or another. So while the guys are away today, Lee and Pete aren't here today again, so here I am. I thought, screw it, I'd try some of these Frost Giant effects. We've got some different ones on the floor here. Yeah, and I thought I'd give you my opinion, see how they go. And we're starting off with the one I was most excited about, because I'd read a lot about this ever since we did that Tales from the Pedal Cabinet. I've been researching this company, and right here we have this as the Architect of Reality. Now, this is essentially just a preamp pedal, but my God, does it chonk. You know, I mean, you heard that, I mean, the amount of percussive disgust, that's a good band name right there, percussive disgust, this thing can do is incredible. I understand why people have been talking about it so much. It's just incredible. I should probably tell you a bit about it. It's essentially the preamp for the original Laney AOR Pro Tube that Matt Pike, guitarist of Sleep, used on Holy Mountain, which is a great album. If you're not familiar with this kind of music, I mean, this is for me. I think other people would recommend you something different, but this is me. Holy Mountain was the album that got me into doom. So Holy Mountain by Sleep, it's basically just Sabbath, half the speed, and put it down to C standard. It's pretty naughty. But this thing is ridiculous. I don't know, I purposely haven't tried to research too much about it. All I know is that it's based off that amplifier, which I've never played. So I can't really compare it. I can't really talk about it compared to the real amp, but all I know is the sound of that record, and this is hitting it. This is hitting it well. I know it's a collaboration between Frost Giant and the geezer from Dunwick Amplification. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. I can't tell you how much this gives me the feels of that album. It just immediately, with the Les Paul and the Soldano I'm playing back there, with this, it's just the sound, isn't it? It's just the sound. So I haven't really tried to go anything with the settings, really. I mean, a lot of the gain is about halfway. I found if you turn up the gain a bit too much, it starts getting a little bit silly. For example. Little bit silly. Oh, God. It sounds a bit better if you kind of include a bit of the volume. We start getting some weird modulation. What do we have? We have these little knobs, these little switches, which I think, from my understanding, is the same as pulling out the AOR button on the original Laney amp. Let's just try and dial it down a bit and see what we get. bit more bass added then when I fit that switch. Very, very bassy. That's very cool indeed. Let's just scoop the hell out of it and see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna go. Right, let's get some gain up. I'm not gonna max it. Sorry, I'll take back my words. I'm gonna take that bass switch out, leave the mid switch in, and let's get back to kind of where I was, because that was a really cool sound. I liked it very much. So this button on the left here changes from the normal channel to the AOR channel. Yeah, let's go. Playing Electric Wizard on a sleep pedal is probably blasphemy in some way, isn't it? It sounds great. It's very ratty to me. I mean, it's like that tiny bit of fuzz on top of that gain is nice. Starting to get a little bit of that percussive distortion. I mean, there's one thing that jumps out to me on that Sleep record is the percussion of the sound that you can hear the pick hitting the strings in such a nice way, and it's hard to find a distortion that does that in a pleasing way. That isn't like full-on death metal chug. It's not really about that. It hits it in a really, really, really satisfying way. Like once you get the volume involved, it's just gnarly. Cool. Well, this thing is really, really cool, and I like it a lot. I don't even know what else to show you about this. I mean, I feel like it speaks for itself, to be honest. And then it sounds ridiculous. It just sounds ridiculous. I mean, if you're looking for that tone, there it is. But even if you're not, I mean, that is a gnarly, gnarly distortion pedal, preamp pedal, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's just, god damn, man. It sounds great. Sweet, let's move on to the next one. Next up, we have the Massif. Now, this is the first one I'd actually heard about prior to doing this video. I'd seen some rumbles about it in the Facebook Doom groups. It's a one knob fuzz. I mean, don't get more simple than this. I'm gonna just see what it does. Let's just go for that. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Gives me that Big Muff vibe a little bit. It's interesting to me how it's up until about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, there wasn't enough volume. That was my opinion there. Like the fuzz structure was nice, but it needs that oomph behind it to get it going. I feel like it just doesn't have any balls until you get it right into the top, and it's that you hear it come in, you hear the volume kind of take it away. Let's have a look. Nice. I feel like it's difficult. I know it's a one knob pedal. You can only mess with it so much, but I feel like anything below 3 o'clock doesn't really have too many uses. Oh, that sounds good, but it's just lacking. It's lacking the balls. How much less bassy it gets once you put it on, you know? I mean, it's nice, it sounds good, let's be honest, but I feel like, yeah, I mean, when it's rammed, it sounds great, when it's cranked, but I'm not really sure what I'd use it for any less than 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. But it does sound good, let's be honest. I mean, that's a pretty gnarly fuzz tone. There we are, okay, right, quick and easy. Next one. Right, on to the third one, the Athos. Sacred Sustaining Device. I don't know what that means. Is that just a distortion pedal? Probably. We've got boost, presence, saturation, volume, tone, and gain. Let's get everything about 12 o'clock and see what we got going on. Pretty gainy for halfway up, to be honest. It's quite boxy. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm thinking we mess around with some knobs and see what changes, to be honest. Again, it seems to be the volume that really brings it in. I think that's been a running thing so far, because in the Architect Reality, I mean, when the gain's on full, it didn't really sound that good. When the volume gets introduced, whether it works well with the gain, it reminds me of like a lot of the Orange amps, where it's just the volume and the gain has to work together, I guess. Even if I had the gain quite far down, it's the volume that brings the nuts in, I think. you can make it sound really small. That's really weird. Okay. I mean, this is sounding really cool so far. I think, again, you just have to have the volume in. You have to have the volume in to get it to do the right thing, I think. I mean, unless there's something I'm missing, I don't know. The tone knob is quite weird because it seems to be only changing the mid-range. It just sounds it goes from sounding quite like that to actually sounding pretty good quite low down. Oh, that sounds great. That sounds bloody great. That sounds a little too nasal to me. A little too nasal for me. Maybe you like it, but that's not really for me. I mean, let's just crank it. Let's crank everything. Saturation maxed. Let's max the presence as well, and the boost. Let's just see what happens, eh? Almost forgot the riff there. I mean, it sounds gnarly. It sounds gnarly. Maybe not everything maxed. I think that sounded a little bit weird to me. But damn, I think once... I mean, I feel like here's about my happy place, to be honest. Just a gnarly fuzz pedal, man. Just a gnarly fuzz pedal. There's my happy place. But yeah, I mean, I guess we go to the last one, the Mountain. As I said at the start of the video, Lee and Pete did try this out, so if you want to see Pete play some blues on it or whatever, it's up there. I mean, the Mountain, it's obviously a reference to Holy Mountain. This is essentially a Rat, or their take on a Rat, to try and get some sleepy tones. I think we just mess around with this. I'm curious if it's going to be the same as the other three and need some volume to get good. But yeah, we have 1, 2, 3 here. I think this changes the tone of the distortion, so we'll try this. We have an overdrive and distortion, as indicated by the red light. I'm pretty sure red is overdrive and blue is distortion. We'll give it a go. Again, see, volume halfway, it loses a lot of that bass. There we go, turn the volume up, we get the bass. Not sure how I'm feeling about this this tone knob, this frequency knob. Let's try setting number 2. Actually, you know what? No, we haven't even tried the distortion part yet. Let's try the distortion part. Starting to think OD's the blue one, distortion's the red one. That's probably the case. So I'm on the Fuzz Worship website to see what these settings are. It says the first, so number 1, is a compressed symmetrical silicon true to the original. So I'm guessing that means rat, right? The second is an asymmetrical silicon that gives it more lively and fuller tone, but it's still keeping the gain. The third one is a hybrid that's a full-on brick house of a setup. That's a quote from the website. I'll keep the gain on. I'll keep all the settings about where we are. I'll keep all the settings about where they are now, and we'll just flick through the toggle, and I'll change between the distortion and the overdrive, and we'll see what we hear. Okay. Okay, I think my favourites there were the distortion or the red, whatever the red one is. I'm pretty sure that's distortion. Red on the 3 or the blue on the 2. They both sounded great. I think this last one did sound gnarly, to be fair. Quite mid-rangey, but it is nice. And then the blue one on number 2. Cool. So there we go. The mountain, done. I mean, Frost Giant effects, done. I mean, pretty wild, pretty gnarly, pretty full on. I mean, you're not going to be playing any blues gigs down the local pub with these pedals. I think all of them have the potential to be absolutely huge, especially once you start getting volume in. I mean, all of them need a bit of volume, but my God, do they sound good when they get there. I think Architects of Reality is definitely my favourite. I think that's the sound right there. That's the sound. I mean, if you, I implore you, please listen to Holy Mountain by Sleep. It's an incredible, incredible album, and you'll see exactly why people absolutely covet that kind of gnarly, percussive, distorted fuzz tone. It's just a great, great sound. But there we are. Okay, subscribe, please. If you want to see some more doobie fuzzy vids by myself, please give me some support. I need to be able to convince Lee and Pete to do more of this stuff for my brethren, my doomy brethren. So yeah, give it a like, subscribe, check the links down below for the pedals, and have a lovely, lovely day. Ladies and gentlemen, goodbye.